Hey everyone, this is Dr. Drizzle, and welcome to the National Parks Expedition Challenge. Today, we're at the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We are going to be talking to an amazing ranger here, and so let's go ahead and just jump into it. So, Ranger Matt, thank you for having us here today. A little bit different than our normal tours and visits, but we're excited to be here and to learn more. How did you get to this place?
Well, thank you so much for that question, Dr. Drizzle. My career within the National Park Service, many people actually do start off seasonally and work themselves up to becoming a career park ranger with the National Park Service. However, my career started as a student hire, and I actually acquired an internship with the National Park Service after I had left a teaching career to go back to school to attempt to earn a master's degree to return to a physical education classroom. When I got to my master's degree, I learned that there was actually outdoor recreation classes. It piqued my interest to be able to see what can be done with outdoor recreation in a physical education setting. However, one summer it came time for me to complete some internship hours. There was a national park unit just west of where I went to college, about an hour west, and I acquired an internship with the National Park Service. So it eventually worked there, led into a career, and finally, upon graduation, I received a call that said, "We do have a permanent position for you at a national park site in Illinois." And I began the wonderful journey, and it eventually led me back here to Oklahoma.
Well, we're glad that you're back here, and we're very honored to be here today to talk about this place and what it means to the people that live here and to the people in our country. So, tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum it honors the site of the events of April 19th, 1995. And tragically, that is the day that we have had the largest act of domestic terrorism in our nation's history, right here in the heartland of America. We do know that 168 men, women, and children were killed by that act of terrorism, by one man's hatred towards the federal government, one man's belief that violence would overcome words. And so what we do here is we help share that story to remember those who were killed, but we don't stop there. What we do in partnership is we do share also the stories of those who survived and also those who were changed forever. And what many visitors do not realize is when they come here, they come here to see the National Memorial where things happen. But we also come here and they learn that even though they might not have been alive in 1995, their lives have been changed forever by being here and visiting this very sacred place.
There are a lot of points of interest here, a lot of places on the grounds. Can you tell us about some of those places and what they mean?
So the way things work here, there's two different areas. There is the museum, and then there is the outdoor symbolic memorial. Us as park rangers, what we do is we partner with the museum staff to able to interpret the symbolism in the outdoor memorial, the outdoor symbolic memorial. And there's usually about 8 different areas that we take visitors around. We talk to them, and it helps share the story of those who were killed, those who survived, and those who were changed forever. Two of the striking features that you see first when you walk into here are going to be what we refer to as the gates of time. Um, the bomb exploded at 9:02 a.m. However, you will not see the number 902 large outside on the outdoor symbolic memorial. What you will see on the eastern end is going to be the moment 9:01. That is referred to as the last moment of innocence before the bomb exploded. It is going to be that time to where we didn't truly realize evil like this could occur right here in our heartland, right here at our back door, and even worse, an American doing this to other Americans as well. But 902 changed all that. But then we leap forward to the gate on our western end, 9:03 a.m. And that is where the healing begins. So we refer to 9:03 as the first moment of that healing process. So everything 9:01 and before is that era of innocence. 9:03 and after is that healing. So yes, 27 years later, the healing is still going on today. And that healing might not have an end in sight. But as we do move forward every single day, it becomes easier to live that everyday life and to focus on the hope that springs from that assistance. And many people don't realize, but once you get a little bit west of Oklahoma City, it gets pretty flat. And then you have this beautiful Oklahoma sky. and that sky can appear to go on forever as well. So that is why it is very appropriate to have that 903 gate on the western side of a memorial to approach that western Oklahoma sky so that healing process can continue to go on.
So many beautiful symbols here that we can look
Yes.
upon and celebrate the legacies of the people that were killed here. Tell us about these chairs. They're very striking and unusual. You don't find this at other places.
When we do look at the field of empty chairs, it is very striking to see the memorial for the 168 who were killed to take the form of an empty chair. And that was very specific because when you look at an empty chair, it does two things. It shows the absence, but it also shows the presence of a loved one. So family members, survivors, those co-workers who may have worked or knew these people, because Oklahoma City is a very tight-knit community. When they read the names that are emblazoned on the front of the glass base of each chair, they don't have to think about the loss. They can think about the memory of a person, whether it be the family member, the mom, the dad, the child, the aunt, the uncle, sitting at that dinner table at home. They can think about those meals they have shared together. It may have been the sitting next to you at the pew at church. Maybe they were a classmate of somebody in a fourth grade or a sixth grade classroom where they remember who sat at the desk right to their left. And so that is the hope today, is when you see these empty chairs, you are focusing on the memories of the person who was killed, not the evil and the hate that took them from us. You will also see two sizes of chairs because very tragically, there was a daycare in the building. And in fact, there were 19 children who were killed by this act of hate. 15 of whom were on the second floor in that daycare center. And so it is very striking. It is very emotional to see larger chairs sitting next to smaller chairs and knowing that those young, innocent lives would never be able to be grown up. As I mentioned, we do have the majority of those smaller chairs on the second row. This is also very strategic as well because the rows of the chairs correspond to the floors of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. The long row of chairs as closest to our reflecting pool would symbolically represent the first floor, all the way back to the ninth row for the ninth floor, and the chair has been placed where the individual would have been working or visiting on that morning. There is one little exception to that because on our far western end of the memorial, there is a column of 5 chairs. 5 lives were killed outside of the Murrah building when the bomb exploded. 2 were in a building called the Oklahoma Water Resources Board building, where you do see what we call our rescuer's orchard. We also do have 2 lives who were killed in and around the Athenian building, which is where you do see the small skinny path here today. And tragically, one of those who were killed was a rescue worker. It was a nurse who came down here to help out with those rescue and recovery efforts. She was hit by falling debris and eventually succumbed to her injuries, paying the ultimate sacrifice for sacrificing her time in our time of need.
The reflecting pool is a beautiful thing anyway. We see reflecting pools in different places. Is there a specific significance of this reflecting pool?
Yes, absolutely, because the reflecting pool does span the area symbolically of 902. So 902 is going to be that moment of change. So the reflecting pool we like to talk about, is it does span that moment of change. So the water is constantly being pumped into the pool and flowing out of the pool. So that water is constantly changing. But the reflections you see in the pool are going to be reflections of things and people that have been changed by terrorism. So if you were to walk to the pool and you were to look straight down and look at your eyes and see your own reflection, you would be looking at the face of somebody who has been changed forever by April 19th, 1995.
And one more thing, the survivor's tree, which
Yes.
is absolutely gorgeous. Tell us why that was put here.
The survivor tree was not actually put here because the survivor tree is just what it says it is. It is the only tree on these entire grounds that survived the explosion. So it was here on that morning. Many people refer to these as witness trees.
Witness tree.
But on that morning, that tree stood in the middle of a parking lot. It was a lot smaller. We believe that tree is over 100 years old at the moment. But when the bomb exploded, it took significant damage. Cars burning around it, leaves and branches blown off. We even thought the tree might actually not make it. but the tree was alive. And the amount of time it took for the rescue and the recovery efforts to progress, for the area to be cleaned up, the tree showed signs of life. And that made us step back for a minute and said, hey, that's just like us. That is just like the symbol of this city, this state, and this nation, because we were hurting. We were knocked down, but we were not yet defeated. Just as people rallied around us to lift our community up, people rallied around that tree because that tree was a symbol of this community. And so today, because of the care taken of that tree in the days, the weeks, the months, the years after the explosion, that tree is bigger, it is healthier, and it is stronger than it was on that morning of April 19th, 1995.
So that sort of leads us to our challenge for our students. As you may know, we try to present a call to action to our students after we visit each place in the National Park Service and the affiliates and partnerships that there are. So I think we're going to use goal number 16, which is about social justice, kindness, hope, resilience, because we know there was a lot of resilience here. There is resilience now. And students, we want you to share your thoughts and your condolences, your blessings, your celebrations of the legacies here by contributing to an online digital portfolio. We're going to ask you to collect quotes, maybe something that you really like as a quote, maybe something that you write yourself, poetry, a picture, a photograph. Make sure you caption this. So we want to take all of these artifacts, these beautiful creations that you come up with, and we want to share them with the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum. We want to let them know that you care, because we as humans are the ones that are going to make this change. Kids, we are all humans. We need to be good to each other. We need to celebrate our differences and our diversity. We need to realize that together we are better. Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, do better. And that's what we have to do as humans. This hatred that was here, we need to say no more to this. We need to build up a community of kids that say, we're here to protect our world, we're here to protect each other, and we're here to be kind. As my shirt says, we just want to be kind. We want to be good humans. Matt, you told me earlier off camera that you had a connection to this place, that you were a sophomore when this happened. Can you share that?
Yes, I was a sophomore when this happened in high school, 1995. In fact, it was 4 days after my 16th birthday that this took. But the connection I do have here is I did not specifically know anybody who was killed, but one of the 168 chairs out there, I knew her sister. Her sister sat just a few rows from me in the church we grew up in. I remember her walking in there, but what I do understand and what I do remember is that the pain, the grief, the unknown of what was going on. And so it was amazing to see our community there in Ponca City, Oklahoma, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Oklahoma City, how they rallied around her. But we also know how we all rallied around each other with that kindness, because once we knew there was a need, Oklahomans met it. If news went out, if the news went out that said, "Hey, we need gloves down here if the rescue work is on site," it was a few hours later they had to do another news report. We have enough gloves. Thank you for bringing them. People unselfishly gave. They donated. They did whatever they needed to do. And what we like to call that is the Oklahoma standard. When somebody is hurting or when somebody has a need, we help fill it. It goes along with the service, the honor, and the kindness. Because as you said, we are all in this together. We are all come from the same nation. We may look different, we may have different backgrounds, we actually absolutely may have different personal opinions, but we are all together. And that's one of the amazing things we get to do here, is we get to share that hope. We get to be a forum of coming together to learn from these shared experiences. So instead of using our actions as somebody did 27 years ago, we can use our words, talk things out, and make this world a better place.
You so eloquently spoke to what our challenge is. So kids, these pictures, these quotes, these poems, these illustrations are going to share with the Oklahomians. Is that a word?
Oklahomans.
Oklahomans, I like that too.
Or you could say Okies.
Okies. So it's going to share with them that you care and that you will remember and that you will do your best to do good in the world.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Make sure you share that with me at Dacia 92, but also look at the bottom of the screen so you can share with the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum, their staff here. They will love to see what you create. These kids would love to be part of this whole idea of taking care of areas and being around monuments and memorials and working with the National Park Service and partners of the National Park Service. Can you tell us really quickly, before you give this some advice, how this is a little different than our normal National Park Expedition challenges?
Absolutely. What many people do not realize is that this is not a national park site. There are over 400 national park units across these wonderful United States and our territories. But right here in Oklahoma City, this is what we call an affiliated area of the National Park Service. The Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum is a private entity. They operate the museum and manage the grounds, but through a public-private partnership and through a cooperative agreement, the National Park Service gets to have rangers right here on the grounds to help share the story of the Outdoors Symbolic Memorial. In fact, it is one of very few areas of these affiliated areas where National Park Service rangers are physically present on the grounds. And so while we are out here sharing the symbolism of the Outdoor Symbolic Memorial, we also encourage visitors to go inside the museum to learn a complete story of what happened here in Oklahoma City. And that goes along the lines of learning what happened here and even learning about that hope and that resilience as you do move through the museum. And as you do come around after you exit, you get the beautiful overlook to be able to overlook these beautiful grounds so you can get that sense of hope and encouragement.
So if they want to work here in a national park site or here in an affiliate, can you give our students some advice on things they can start doing now to prepare for a job?
Absolutely, I can. So one piece of advice I would have for you if you are wanting to work for the National Park Service is don't give up. We would love to have you join us wearing the flat hat, wearing the green and the gray. One of the easiest ways to get your foot in the door is if you do have a national park site close to your house, I encourage you to go down there and volunteer. Whether it's 1 hour a week, whether it's 4 hours a week, whether it's just a handful of hours a month or one time, I do encourage you to get out there and volunteer at these national treasures that we get to so protect. Also, learn what you love, read about what you love, gain that wealth of information, but also understand that we are public servants. We are there to share with the American people and protect these places for our future generations to enjoy. Right now, many of you are that future generation, but by becoming part of the National Park Service and actually working in this beautiful environment, you can preserve it for your children. You can help preserve it for your grandchildren, so we may get to enjoy and learn from these special places.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today to learn, to feel, to be sad, but then also to recognize that there is a 903.
Absolutely.
And that there is hope, and that our students can be that hope for our world by loving each other and being a good example to adults now.
Absolutely.
To celebrate each other's diversity and differences and to join hands, if you will, in arms. This is Dr. Drizzle and Ranger Matt from the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum, and we're going to create a new bond here today to be good humans, and we hope you do too. So thanks so much, and we're out of here.